Okay. All right. Right. So we're continuing or going back to what we learned last shiur. בפרק ז' פסוק י"ג. And Shlomo HaMelech is continuing the behavior of the Yetzer Hara, and how the Yetzer Hara slowly takes control over a person, just like a harlot and a prostitute does. והחזיקה בו ונשקה, so she holds his hand, she holds onto him, then she kisses him, העזה פניה, and then she becomes חוצפנית, ותאמר לו, and then she speaks to him. And she tells him, we're going to see what she's going to tell him. Alors, so the Gaon says, in the beginning, right, we said that what the Yetzer Hara holds on to the hand of the person. What does that mean? To make him comfortable, reassured, it's all good, it's all okay, you're in a safe place, it's fine, there's nothing bad. Venashkalo. And then comes the kiss. What does it mean? Kiss, the emotional connection, right? Emotional satisfaction, a high. Wow, I feel the love, I feel the bond. So I'm finally understood. I'm myself. Now I can be who I really am. The emotion develop themselves. And then comes the chutzpah. And then comes the tvi'a bepe, like the Gaon says. He says, Isha tznuah, a woman that has tzniut, will never verbally express that she wants to be intimate with her husband. So she's always going to find ways to show it, yeah, but she's never going to say it. At least not the Benot Israel. We don't do that. But that the Yetzer Hara, slowly he gets to so much comfortable into your and under your skin and controls you, and eventually openly the Yetzer Hara is going to tell you, it's okay to do this avera. You need it. It's for your good. And like he says in the beginning, the Yetzer Hara doesn't talk. Because meaning, what does it mean? The Yetzer Hara doesn't talk? There's no real logic. You don't rationalize. In the beginning, he strikes you, and there's it's like a remote events that hurt, and you don't know how it comes. How you felt, what happened to me? How did it happen? Right? It was not planned and set. That's the first falling, and then another, and slowly. Now the conversation inside happens. Now the person starts rationalizing and finding logical reasons why he needs that, and why it's okay, and why it's not so bad. And yeah, and that's the chutzpah of the Yetzer Hara. Vatomer lo, and that's what it means. Vatomer lo, zivhe shelamim alai. So what does the Yetzer Hara says? The korbanot of shlamim, the sacrifice of shlamim. Shlamim are korbanot that we bring when we're happy. Shalmei todah, shalmei hagiga. These are korbanot that we bring during the chagim, right? And we eat it, and we're happy, and we eat it with the family, right? It's sacrifices of happiness that express happiness and joy. So the Yetzer Hara Shalmei Zivhei Shelamim, those sacrifice, those korbanot of happiness, alai, they're on me. Hayom shilamti nedarai. Today I paid my obligation, my pledges, my neder. So he says the Gaon. Says we know that the Yetzer Hara, when it comes, it doesn't come straight forward for you to do avera. Never.
By little.
Not even little. It starts with a mitzvah. It starts with a mitzvah. It's because it says if the Yetzer Hara comes right away and tells you, let's do a big sin, you're not going to listen. We're not idiots.
It's like go to the later minyan. Still doing the mitzvah, but
נכון. אך בא אליו במצוות. And slowly, through the mitzvah, מושך אותו. It drags the Yetzer, drags the person. He says that's what Shlomo HaMelech means, zivhei shlamim. Zivhei shlamim, the korban shlamim, is not a korban that you bring because you sin, but it's a korban that is a very big mitzvah to eat and be happy about it when you eat it. That's the nature of the korban shlamim. ואכלת שם ושמחת, right? וזבחת shlamim. You will sacrifice shlamim, right? ואכלת שם, and you will eat it there. ושמחת, and you'll be happy. So the whole definition of the korban shlamim is what? Is eating and being happy and satisfied that you're eating. It says Yetzer Hara, from there I take you. From that pleasure of mitzvah, that's where I penetrate. And that's where I'm going to start getting you. So he says, Hayom shilamti nedarai. That's why, so zivhei shlamim alai, the korbanot of shlamim are mine. What does that mean? I'm giving them to you. I'm going to make sure you have opportunities to eat korbanot shlamim. You're going to have a lot of beautiful opportunities like that. Hayom shilamti nedarai. He says, he doesn't say nedava. Nedava is a gift. He says nedarai, a neder. A neder is what? Is a promise, a vow. And he says, when you give a gift, it's nice. But since you're not obligated to give it, there is no challenge to it. But when you make a neder, when you make a vow and a promise, why do you make a promise? Because you know that the promise is what will bind you to do the action. That means the action is not so easy to do.
It'll give you the koach to do it.
Right. It will give you the koach, the satisfaction, the motivation.
So with Yaakov, right? He makes Yosef swear about taking his bones.
Ken.
Because he knew it would be difficult.
Nachon. Same thing. Nachon. So says the Gaon. Shlomo HaMelech tells us, where do you get the bigger satisfaction? Not when you give a gift, but when you fulfill the neder, because that means you've established a goal, and you've accomplished the goal, even though it was challenging, and that's a big happiness. It's a very big satisfaction. So he says, that's the pitui of the Yetzer Hara.
That's the what of the Yetzer Hara?
The pitui. The incentive of the Yetzer Hara. He says he's going to bring you something good, a good mitzvah, something that challenges you, a mitzvah that you need to do an effort to get there. It's a sacrifice. It's a strong devotion, dedication. But the end result is what? The end result is great. You're happy, right? And if you're happy and you're on a high, that gives now the Yetzer Hara the opportunity to start play on that high, on that satisfaction, and penetrate and start deviating from a high, the person, and start telling him, okay, now you're on a high. You know, usually when do people start making mistakes? Do averot when they're successful. When they're under distress or it's hard, they're very laser focused. They work, they this, there's that. The second there's
Is the pasuk Yeshurun?
Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivat. Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivat. Yes, when Israel get fat, that's when they kick the ball. That's when they push back. That's exactly the nekuda. So he says that's when the Yetzer Hara starts penetrating.
I have a question. Isn't what protects us? Isn't our protection the mitzvot and the Torah?
Bravo.
Why would
Excellent question.
Why would that allow him open up?
Very good question. Very good question. Very good. So you're missing everything you said is emet, but you forgot one element that we have introduced in the last shurim. What? That you need to. That's
to connect it.
No. That the Yetzer Hara touches you only when you expose yourself. So the moment you extrapolate the simcha of the mitzvah to a personal simcha, you've extended now the simcha outside the boundaries of the mitzvah.
Start using your bracha for. Okay.
Nah,
I got it.
it's very accurate.
It's the pride. It's the crossing the line of the pride, because once you feel it.
I don't know if it's pride. I don't know if it's pride. I think that people like to be happy and want to be happy. I think that naturally people want to feel good. Now, you have a mitzvah and you're happy to do the mitzvah. Yes. The mitzvah is finished. You're happy you've done it. But you don't want to let go of the happiness, even though the mitzvah is finished. So you're carrying that happiness outside of the boundaries of the mitzvah itself. Why? Because people want to hold on to that emotion, and that is what the Yetzer Hara is waiting for. When you're no longer happy because of the mitzvah. You're happy because you want to stay happy. You want to keep this emotion with you. So I don't know if it's ego. I think it's more
just going to say gava is a
but why gava? Why gava?
It's a byproduct.
Let's say you go, you do bikur cholim, right? You're going because you want to do the mitzvah. You like the opportunity to do the mitzvah. You do it. Now you're in the car, you're coming home from the hospital now, and now you feel good. There's a good feeling that comes with that, and now you take that with you, like, I did something good today. It just went from I fulfilled what Hashem commanded me.
But is it ga'ava or is it the fact that
I'm proud of myself. I'm proud.
It's okay. You're allowed to be proud of the mitzvot that you do. You have to be proud of your good deeds. But here we're talking about
very fine line.
Yes,
we're talking about something that's
move out of Shem Shamayim, right?
Then that's the point. That's the point. Lishma. It's no more lishma.
Right.
It's no more. It's not gava.
But it's personal. You took it from lishma to personal.
In achinami, personal, yes, but gava, no. It could be because of low self-esteem also. It could be because of. I think it's more of the fact that people naturally need to feel happy, need to feel good. So they're like, it's true that, wow, I've done this mitzvah, it made me feel good. And I deserve to keep that happiness beyond.
That's gava.
That's not gava.
I deserve.
That's not gava.
No,
that's not gava.
I deserve to keep it. Why do you deserve it? Hashem is giving
exactly.
you
Why do you deserve? I don't think it's gava.
But what is it? It's got to be something.
I think it's just an instinctive need that a person has to need to be happy, and because there's no more other triggers for that happiness, so he chooses to hold on to that and satisfy himself. Ga'ava is more than that. Is much more than that. Yes, if you walk out there and now you're presumptuous and now I did a mitzvah in your face, that's ga'ava.
But you have gava on your heart. You don't have to show it. You could feel it. You could walk around. Feel like it's
You can. Yes, you can. I don't know if it's it. My point is, I'm not saying that I'm saying it doesn't have to be gava.
No.
It could be gava, but I don't think it has to be gava. That's what I'm saying.
Right. It could be gava. It could be a number of different things.
Correct.
While we have this simcha, while we have this high,
when you're on the high, exactly.
It could cause a plethora of different feelings and emotions to take you down the wrong path, the wrong line.
I think that's the nikudah. The nikudah is just when you're up, you're vulnerable. When you're up for too long, you're vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah, but hold on. One second. Why can't you use this also as a catalyst to want to be able to do more?
You can.
That's
You
what
can.
you should be.
So,
You
okay,
should be.
but
That's
through
exactly
that,
the point.
but
You
through
should
that
be.
comes that you reminisce. Okay, I gave $1 million check 2 years ago to tzedakah. I want to make sure I can do the same thing again this year. Let's work hard. Look at how much we did. Look how much amazing things happened. And then there is a simcha that you say, I put food on the table for people that needed it. I supported widows and orphans. I did
All
this
is good. All this is good.
So
All
through
this,
that is,
all this is good. The moment you take it out of the context of the mitzvah, that's the problem.
Right. Somebody once told me, he said, the funniest thing is when people pray and they say,
no,
you
142
gotta give me parnasah so that I can give tzedakah. It says, yeah, please Hashem, give me parnasah so I could take 90 and you could take 10, right?
Right, exactly.
Meaning we rationalize it.
Nachon.
How pure is it? How
Exactly.
lishma is it?
Nachon. It's the lishma point. It's the lishma point.
They only go to 20.
on here.
So yeah.
You're still
That's John.
80 the wrong way.
What?
I said it's the point is the point that someone was making to me once was be honest in your tefillah when you pray to Hashem. Yes, you want to give tzedakah, of course, but that's not the essence of why, because you still want 80% of it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it says the Gaon, the Yetzer Hara finds the most. Andy, you're good. The Yetzer Hara finds the most. You look disturbed.
No, thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking that really in every act, it's not pure, what we are saying.
What do you say?
Yes,
We think we are pure and really.
that's right. Nachon. That's the whole avodah. By the way, when does it become? It's an endless avodah, because the moment you think you're pure, you start to become impure. That in itself is impurity.
But being our own judge, it's.
But we can, because that's why we have the musar. The musar is the soundboard, right? That allows us to reflect. That's why we have chaver, kne lecha chaver. That's why we have aseh lecha rav.
And tefillah, you're supposed to reflect, aren't you?
Yeah.
The more you understand Hashem's greatness, the smaller you're supposed to feel.
Nachon.
Keep praying the right way.
Correct.
Again,
back to that.
Again, back to lishma.
But that's part of what. That's
that's
part
the
of your
whole
effort. Yes, but what's outside influence that you don't do is the musar that you learn, right? It's the rebukes. Is the kne lecha chaver, is the chaver that sees you, and that can actually tell you you're on the right track or you're off track, and you have. Obviously, this your wife, your parents. Yes, that's it's the what who you surround yourself with. But to go back to what the Yetzer, what does the Yetzer Hara says? What the Yetzer Hara says? The Yetzer Hara says is like, okay, I'm gonna make sure you have Shalmei Hagigah, that you're gonna eat well, okay, and that you're gonna be satisfied from what you eat, meaning physical pleasure. Okay? The Yetzer Hara of food, specifically, says with that Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Hara of the food and the pleasure of it, even though the pleasure of what you're eating and the actual action of eating is a mitzvah, I said min Torah. When you eat the korban shlamim, the eating is a mitzvah min Torah, and the simha, eating it, is a mitzvah of the Torah, right? But because it's so close to your flesh, the ta'ava, the desire is so close to you, the Yetzer Hara is like, I'm willing to give you the shlamim, I'm willing to give you that mitzvah, because I know where I'm going to get you. Because it's so difficult to eat lishma. It's so difficult to be besimha when you're eating lishma. And stay lishma. So the Yetzer Hara is, that's what he says. Hayom shenamti nedarai. So he says, if we are saying that with the mitzvah of the shlamim, which is a mitzvah, which in itself is a mitzvah, and the happiness of eating is a mitzvah, kal vachomer, when it's not a mitzvah, that you're under the influence of the Yetzer Hara.
Saying you're just eating.
Yeah. And he says, essentially, if we come to pinpoints, what is the Yetzer Hara waiting for when we're eating? When you do when you do what's extra, when you eat extra, when you enjoy extra.
It's really anything physical, right?
What do you mean?
The opposite of spirituality is physicality, right? The
Yeah.
second we go past the need of the physicality into the desire of the
Yes.
physicality,
Yes.
you're exposed.
Yes. Yes. So exactly. So that's the notar. What the sorry. The extra.
I'll get to myself.
The extra is what the Yetzer Hara needs, is the exposure of the person that allows the Yetzer Hara to enter. Right? We've been saying the exposure, right? That the Yetzer Hara cannot touch you unless you expose yourself. How do you expose yourself?
Extra.
The notar.
The what?
The motar, the extras, right? When it's more than is needed for the mitzvah.
Can you give us an example of that? Practical examples?
There's thousands.
Shabbat, you eat, you do a seudah, or you drink a cup of wine for the kiddush, and
The second, the third.
yeah, then it's no longer for the Simchat Shabbat Kodesh. That's Shabbat Kodesh. We can Shabbat Kodesh. Or you eat a nice orsovo, right? That's a big problem. When you eat orsovo, when you eat the chamin, I'm using orsovo. It's a Bukharian dish that I love, and I especially love the orsovo that Brian's mother makes, and sister, but his mother makes it like a very special orsovo. Okay, it's worth trying it, and I bless you all that you should try the orsovo. Dan's wife, I think, also makes a nice orsovo, but he makes the chamin. He makes chamin, but she makes also very good food. So when you have, you eat lechvot Shabbat Kodesh. Ochel adam lesova nafsho. A person has to eat to satisfy his nefesh. We don't know.
Isn't that so interesting?
What it means to satisfy your nefesh.
I was just gonna say that, like, how do you know?
There's no, so the Rambam wants to say is like when you're you're good, but you just want a little bit more.
Right.
The little bit more is already the extra.
Now I understand why you fast. Food is really
Again, there's a big
it's a
Yitzhara.
huge item.
There's
the
the biggest
big-
Yitzhara.
It's the biggest,
but-
right?
Rabbi, it's only in food or all mitzvot?
No,
Because
This food is a big.
no. Here it's
I just asked for one practical example.
yeah.
Right. So then,
Is it-
where's the difference between Hiddur mitzvah? Why can't I say I don't need to get the craziest etrog in the world? I'm good with.
I'll tell you why.
Mitzvah.
I'll
Where
tell you
does
why.
this stop?
That's very good, because there's a difference between buying an etrog, which is the mitzvah, okay, and oneg Shabbat, which the mitzvah of oneg Shabbat is the oneg of the Shabbat, not feeling you're satisfying your palais or your beten.
Oneg Shabbat can be done other way, right? It can be done.
Nachon, bravo. So the
So
Gaon
that's-
says,
that's
Inachinami,
it.
bravo. So the Gaon says, Shabbat, right? You can satisfy yourself with Shabbat with a lot of things.
With an app.
With an app or with an apple, with anything. You don't have to eat something specific or a kamut. You don't have to eat to be Oneg Shabbat. Okay, you don't even have to eat on Oneg Shabbat. So what does he say? He says the Yetzer Hara comes and tells you, I'm going to go to the most spiritual action that satisfies you physically, which is what? The achila, the eating of the korban. That is the most satisfying physical mitzvah you can have. What is the second one? We all know is intimacy. Right? These are the two Yetzarim, the two Yetzer Hara.
Shabbat and intimacy, right? And Shemesh. It doesn't get
No,
past
put
that.
Olam Haba outside.
Isn't it
Why?
60th of Olam Haba?
Yes, but
Pleasure.
yes.
No, I'm saying it because of the
From the pleasure.
pleasure.
Yes. So yes, from
Tells you about
the dimension of the pleasure.
The height of its pleasure.
Yes. So from the dimension of the pleasure. So what do we see? We see that the achila, which is a physical pleasure, which is 100% a mitzvah, minat Torah, more than the intimacy, because the intimacy is a mitzvah, but maybe sometimes it is a mitzvah, sometimes it's not a mitzvah. But achila of the korban of shlamim, that's 100%. Every bit you bite and you swallow, you make a mitzvah. Any satisfaction you have, Bashamayim, you build your olam haba. Says Shlomo HaMelech, even there the Yetzer Hara is. That's even there the Yetzer Hara is waiting for you. Because the Yetzer Hara knows we glitch. He knows we deviate. So he's like, no problem. I'll give you all the mitzvot that you want. Okay? And you know what? I'll set it up for you. Go eat in the Beit HaMikdash. Go enjoy. And I'll get you around the corner. So we learn from that, Kal Vachomer, right? We learn from that for everything else. That we need to put our focus and hazard warning not on the mitzvah or on the avera, but on the mutar, on the excess. If you want to identify the Yetzer Hara, tells us Shlomo HaMelech, put your efforts in identifying whether or not you're excessive or not. Is it extra or it's not an extra right now? That is the compass that will allow you to know if you're on the right direction or you've been drifted. Good? And so he says, therefore, says the Gaon, achilot, when you eat, usmahot, or moments of happiness, צריך האדם מאוד מאוד להישמר ולהיזהר. When you're exposed to food or to happiness, be extremely careful. שלא תראה אחיזת היצר הרע שם, that the Yetzer Hara doesn't catch you there. Pasuk Tedvav. Al ken yatzati likratecha. Therefore, I came out to you. Leshaher panecha va'emtzaeka, to find you. Yeah, to see your face, and I found you, and to find you, right? Says the, you need to be the Gaon to say this. I mean, if you're not Gaon Mivilna, you cannot say that. If you're not the Gaon, you cannot say. But it says Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech understood the viciousness of the Yetzer Hara. He says, Al ken yatzati likratecha. He said, I set up, I know you love mitzvot, and I know you want to do mitzvot. So I'm going to set up a situation where you're going to be excited to do this mitzvah so much, and you're going to run after it. And I come, I'm the one who come towards you. What does it mean I come towards you? I present before you the mitzvah so that you don't even have to run after it. It's running after you. Ve'emtza'eka, you're going to think it's siyata dishmaya. Wow! Look at this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves me. He presents me this mitzvah that I want to do, that I love, that's so satisfying. Ve'er'eh ki zot min hashamayim shematzati otcha. Uve'siyata dishmaya hi sheta'aseh zot hamitzvah. It's presented in a way like, wow, Hashem really brought me this mitzvah.
That's scary.
Yes.
That's very scary.
But what is the factor? What's a factor that we can identify a little bit? That it comes suddenly, fast. That you don't really have the proper time to assess that the mitzvah coming and the preparation of the mitzvah. It's taking you, wow, let's go, let's do it, without any time
To decide.
to absorb what's going on. And the effect of surprise, the spike, that's what gives the edge of the to the Yetzer Hara. That's how he can actually take you and maneuver. How did we say in last shiur? Right? First is the spike, nachon? And then the Yetzer Hara lets you. It comes down. You're like, wow, it was on a high. And you think it's finished. Even with the Avera, the person is terrible, makes an Avera, it's finished. It's one off. It's not me. I'm not doing this. So you think it's finished. That's it. But what you don't know is that it's part of the whole plan. So now, until this shiur, we had the face of the Yetzer Hara of Averot, right? Shlomo HaMelech opens to us a new dimension of the Yetzer Hara. It's called the Yetzer Hara of mitzvot. Rav Wolbe, alav shalom, tzaddik livracha, he used to say in the Va'adim, the Bachurim, they love to stay and learn at night. And they want to learn. And they learn 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they feel like they're I'm learning. The Yetzer Hara said, I'm giving you all the learning that you want. Why? Because when you're going to sleep, you're not going to wake up for Shaharit. You're not going to do Kriyat Shema, and you're going to wake up messed up, and you're going to miss Seder, and you're going to be confused. And yes, it's true, I gave you 3 hours of learning at night, but I picked up a full day the next day with all the mitzvot that come with it. The Chachmei Asod say that when you pray, it's not good to have other thoughts. When you fill out shaharit, you cannot think about other things, even of limud. Halacha you're allowed, but al pi Kabbalah it's not good. Why? Because you're introducing thoughts that have nothing to do with the seder of the tefillah, right?
But I thought there's beracha in learning where you pray before you pray.
That's I'm talking while you pray. Don't talk
Right,
before
it's
after.
very hard to get it out. You know, if you learn something and you learn it good, it's very hard to get it out of your head.
Yeah, that's what Hasidim Rishonim used to prepare themselves before the tefillah.
Space.
An hour before, an hour after. Yeah, that's because you're not to mix. And if you mix, you're mebalbel ha'olamot. You're confusing the worlds. So the Yetzer Hara has no problem. He's going to tell you, think about the Gemara. Think during the Amidah. Think about your Gemara. It's good. Think about your shur. But when do you think, when the Hidush is going to come? When you do the Amidah. When you say Barech Aleinu, Refa'enu, then the Hidush comes. This is Yetzer Hara of mitzvah. That's the glitch. That's the glitch. There's time to learn. There's time to pray.
Focus.
There's time. You have to compartmentalize. You have to be following the protocol, focus, and be regimented. When I learn, I don't do business. When I do business, I don't pray. When I pray, I don't learn.
Say there. Singular focus, the opposite of the modern world.
Completely opposite.
Literally, complete hafuch of the world of multitasking.
Modern world is upside down.
Completely. Pasuk Tet Zayin. To say that the Yetzer Hara is going to come into a situation when you say, wow, ממש מן השמיים, השגחת השם. זה חזק מאוד. tet zayin. מרבדים רבדתי ארסי. I covered my Arsi is my like sitting area, my sofa with covers. Hatuvot etun Mitzrayim, and I yes, and I put like some beautiful colors of the Egyptian dyes. He says, אחר כך אמרה לו, כיוון שראתה שהוא יגיל בתענוג השמחה של מצווה, now the יצר הרע is giving you לשם שמיים, מן השמיים, this is very good. So he says, מרבדים לשיטה, זה מרבדים רבדתי ארסי. He says, now it's time to relax. He says, as we mentioned, this world is compared to what? To Laila, to night. And everything that revolves around Olam Hazeh, Chachamim address it as a mitah, as a bed. Why? Because Olam Hazeh is stationary. No matter what you think you've accomplished, at the end, it's like a mitah. You're still in bed. You did not accomplish anything in Olam Haba, in your Olam Hazeh. So what does he say? כאשר הוא רגיל בתענוגי המצוות, יצר הרע will bring you mitzvot so that you start enjoying the mitzvot. And subconsciously, you start being attached to the pleasure of the mitzvah. Not the mitzvah anymore, but it's pleasure. So now the Yisrael says, you see, why are you living this world? Olam hazeh, and focusing only on Olam haba and the mitzvot. The pleasure
Enjoy.
has a place in this world, right? How do we know the pleasure is mutar, you're allowed, and is a mitzvah? Because the mitzvah itself has pleasure. So if the mitzvah itself has pleasure, pleasure is part of Olam haba. So you can have pleasure of the mitzvah, and you can also have pleasure from Olam hazeh. There's not, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You're enjoying this world. You're not enjoying an avera at this point. Amalo. Why not? I want to enjoy a nice steak. I want to enjoy a nice evening, a nice music. I want to enjoy any enjoyment. Nice food. Why not? It's Olam hazeh.
We go back to Stanley's point that he made earlier when it starts to touch on Ga'ava.
Yes.
Can we use an example of tzedakah, of the kavod that somebody gets when tzedakah is done
Yes.
quickly?
Well,
How do we protect ourselves from having the slight thought of the public kavod that somebody can get?
the Rambam says you have to give it b'tzin'ah. Give it without any kavod. Give it without a name. Give it without anybody knowing.
You're not always in that situation.
I'm saying that.
Sometimes actually sniut is actually to announce it because it'll
It'll bring others to want to participate.
no.
Yes, if the person is really emet that he's not getting any, he's actually pushing back on that and he doesn't want it. That's very rare. That's very rare. There are situations like this. There are situations, right, where the publicity actually hurts the person and he doesn't want it. Most people, maybe people, people want to be.
Is that considered being on the couch
What?
and enjoying the mitzvah?
What is?
The kavod. The kavod
Yes.
from tzedakah.
Vadai. If it's past again, you've given mechila. I don't understand. You're giving tzedakah, okay?
The right reason.
What kavod do you deserve?
Nothing. If you feel
Nothing.
You're obligated to do.
What have you done more than what you're supposed to?
Nothing. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to give the tzedakah.
So what kavod are you expecting?
It came, not expected. It came with the act of tzedakah.
Yeah. So you reject.
You have to protect yourself from that.
Nachon, you reject it.
Is that an opportunity for the Yetzer Hara? Is what I'm saying.
But for sure, it's an opportunity for the Yetzer Hara.
That we must protect ourselves from.
For sure, it's an opportunity of the Yetzer Hara.
I'm just
100%.
using that as an example. Is that an example that we all need to
absolutely, Vadai.
Is that
the Rambam in his Pirush HaMishnayot, Masechet Sanhedrin, Perek Tet. He addresses there the Yud Gimel Ikarei Emunah. And there he says that in the beginning, you have to bribe children to do mitzvot. How? Give them candies, and then you give them a little toy, right? And then you give them a little bit of money.
What does it say? Shelo ba lishma.
But afterwards, all these transfer into what? Into ego, into kavod. And then you just exchange the toy for ego. Yeah. That's all it is. You're still a child. In the beginning, they give you a lollipop, and then they give you crayons, and then they give you I don't know, walkie-talkies, and then they give you a bicycle, and then they give you that thing that goes electric, and then they give you the car, and then they give you the watch, and then they give you ego, and then you want the kavod. What do you mean? When I walk into the room, I need the kavod, right? So uvadai, that the kavod by definition is the yetzer hara. By definition, the kavod is yetzer hara.
But then there's a requirement that we all have to give kavod to the Baalei Chesed.
Yes, but that doesn't. You need to give the kavod out of akarat hatov. That doesn't mean that he has to elevate himself through the kavod. Like you give kavod to Talmidei Chachamim, we give kavod to the Torah. It's not because you give the kavod that means he has to take it and start stepping on you or elevate himself from it.
That's the protection that we need to have for ourselves.
The kavod by definition is yetzer hara, 100%.
Such a difficult concept.
It is. It is. It's because it's very fine. Very, very fine.
Rabbi, what going back before we spoke about giving, what Brian was mentioning about getting kavod or giving tzedakah or whatever it is, right? And we said we have to reject it. So we reject it. Okay, we give tzedakah, we reject the kavod. But now when someone gives tzedakah and it doesn't benefit me, this has nothing to do with me. He lives in a different country. Why do I have to play the kavod game to him and play into that nonsense?
Why is it a
running
game?
around?
Why is it a
Because
game? Nobody tells you to go out of your way to show kavod. But if the person is here and the person is doing the right thing, is doing tzedakah, you don't give kavod to stam.
Okay, but we're saying he did what he's supposed to do. So you're rewarding someone for what he's supposed to do.
Yes, and for that, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
what's a tzaddik?
That's the same kid
What's
that
a
I'm giving a
tzaddik?
lollipop
Tzaddik is
to.
somebody that does what he's supposed to do.
So that's the kid I'm giving a lollipop to, but an adult version.
No, what the Rambam says there is that the person needs it, right? As a satisfaction, and as a motivation. There's two things. There is your chiyuv to show hakarat hatov, okay, and respect, and we're not, when we say that be'emet, we're not saying to play a game. Be'emet, a person that is dedicated to Am Yisrael and that helps Am Yisrael deserves a different behavior than somebody that doesn't. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do the salam aleik and give him a foot massage. You have to look up to a person like that. That's the kavod. You look up to a person like this.
Right. Okay.
You understand or no?
Yes. Very much. Yeah. Also, it was in another shiur that we spoke about. But we spoke about the yetzer hara that comes at the time of mitzvot.
Yes.
Which you explained to us, which is the yetzer hara of noga.
Ken.
Is that what's getting involved here as well, or that is what's
no? That's very different.
Very different.
Here, the whole mitzvah itself is part of the hasata of the yetzer hara. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
What we're saying here is that once you expose yourself, once you live on the extras, that could be extra of food, extra of seeing things you're not supposed to, talking to women when you're not supposed to, extra ego, extra kavod, extra simcha, extra whatever the pleasure is. Yes. Then you now give the yetzer hara the ability to play, to hedge that extra in his favor. But the way he rolls you in is that in the beginning, he's going to say, you like the extra, so let me give you of that extra, mutar, mitzvot, and mitzvot that are really mitzvot.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly, he gets you accustomed, he gets you hooked to the pleasure of that mitzvah. And now suddenly the pleasure is a role of it. It's an essence of its own. It's not a byproduct of the mitzvah. It's in itself an end. It's not a means. You understand?
It's
The end. It's the main dish. Like exactly, it's the main dish. So, and how did he get to the main dish? Because the Yetzer Hara pumped you with so much of those mitzvot of ta'anugim, of that, right? That are allowed, that you got hooked to the ta'anug. You got hooked to the pleasure. And now he goes and he says, listen, if the pleasure is in the mitzvot, then it's okay to have pleasure. There's no problem. So enjoy pleasures of Olam Hazeh. You're not doing anything wrong. There's no avera. Enjoy the pleasure. So essentially, through the pleasure of the mitzvah that he developed within you by giving you mitzvot that you have pleasure on, right? He now helps you to do the extra. Because he knows you love extras. So now you're going to do the extra of the pleasure from a pleasure of mitzvah, and you're going to extrapolate it. You're going to extend it to the pleasure of Olam Hazeh. So now it's the extra of the extra. You understand?
Yeah.
So from essentially, what is the flaw? The flaw is that we allow ourselves to enjoy the extra. We want the extra. So if you want the extra, by default, the Yetzer Hara will say, no problem. So this is all I need. Now you're going to want the extra of the pleasure. And the extra of the pleasure of the mitzvah is the pleasure of Olam Hazeh. Now he has you in his backyard. Good?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's Marvadim Ravadati Arsi, right? I put on my couch, right? On my couch, my sofa. I made it nice, right? Hatuvot, milashon hativa, hamuvhar. Now I'm not gonna let you sit somewhere cheap, like Stanley said. You're gonna sit on frette, the best Italian fabrics.
That's Egyptian.
And in this case, it's better than Italian. It's Egyptian. Atun Mitzrayim, Masah shel Mitzrayim. It comes and it's weaved and it's tied, all prepared from Egypt. He says, Kolomar, the best that comes from Egypt. Why that comes from Egypt? Ki misham ba'u hashesh v'harikma tuvim v'yafim. The best silk and the best embroidery at the time came from Egypt. Maybe even today, I don't know. But it came from Egypt. So he says, what is Mitzrayim to us? The root of all tum'ah.
Height of materialism.
Ervat haaretz, right? Ervat haaretz. The erva is the abomination of. It's not really abomination. Erva is the pleasure of the desire, the tava, right? The desire, the biggest desires that come from Egypt. He says, the Yetzer Hara says, I'll give you the finest pleasures of Olam Hazeh, the top of the top that you can enjoy. And it's all kasher, all mutar. I'll bring you the finest of the finest. And now, suddenly what happens? This is way more accessible than the pleasure of mitzvah. And suddenly you realize that all the pleasures that you have from the pleasure of mitzvah, slowly are no longer pleasures of mitzvah. What are they? Pleasures of Olam Hazeh. And then after that, then it's Pasuk Yud Zayin, it's game over. It's game over. We have to do Yud Zayin. We have time, guys. We have time. We have another huh?
I have to leave.
Okay, so we'll pick up tomorrow. Be'ezrat Hashem. Pasuk Yud Zayin.
Sorry.
No. בהצלחה, בשורות טובות, בעזרת השם. We are י' זין, we finished ט' זין. בלי נדע בעזרת השם, we have to, next pasuk is
Beautiful.
the next step. השם ישמור אותנו from the יצר.